All right, here we go, ladies and gentlemen. We are live. Thank you so much for showing up to the Provoke Coach podcast. Now, over the next couple of weeks, we're going to have a lot of guests, and a lot of these guests are awesome speakers on our Unleash Your Greatness seminar that we have going on in Miami, going on September 25th. So I have a special speaker, and number one on the list, okay, Miss Carrie, Irene. Thank you so much for showing up. Miss Crosby, we love to have you. You inspire us, you motivate us. Now I'm going to kind of give you the stage and kind of let everybody know who you are and what you stand for.
All right. Well, I stand for growth. Let's put that first and foremost.
Yes.
But the main thing about growth is growing yourself. So I am Carrie, Irene. I am the founder and CEO of ATVA Impact Group. I also own my own video editing business, Stutter Styles, where I help my clients be seen and be heard, because that is really my philosophy of life. We need to be seen so that people know that we're out here, we're doing the work, we're putting in the time, and really just cultivating ourselves in the world and to be heard, because we all have a story and all of our stories matter. So that's my main focus for me, is to be seen and to be heard so that I can encourage other people to do exactly that same thing. Absolutely.
And that's fantastic. And I know that I've been following you, kind of for, quite some time now. And we obviously are both Circles of Champions,
Yes.
We're major contributors because we want to be able to share. Let's talk about that for a second, because you and I were kind of chatting before all of this. I always kind of want to record those conversations, prior to these live events, because they're a little bit even more real, because we talk about what we want for our clients, and we talk about giving back. Talk to us, I guess, about the purpose of what you're doing now. And I guess we'll start off. Why don't we start off with the creative side a little bit? Okay,
Yeah.
let's start off with, you have a video editing company that you've had for, how long has this been now?
It's been a little bit over a year. Yeah, it's been a little bit over a year. And I started it when I first released my retail job, that I've been in retail for 20 plus years. And what I realized in retail is that I was having a problem with retention. So I was finding that all of my star players on my team would always leave. Now, I want to also emphasize that I am in good contact and we still have good rapport with all of my previous employees. But what I realized is the reason why a lot of those people I coached out of their position is because I saw their dream, I saw what they wanted, and I helped them to do what they wanted to do. So in turn, it kind of left me high and dry, but at the same time, I loved what I did because I helped people believe in themselves and go after their dreams. So one of the things that I do with the video editing clients is I help them to build their platform so that they can be more creative and infuse themselves back into their jobs, into their careers, into their platform. Because I think a lot of times we try to separate personal and business. When I personally, and of course this is my opinion, I don't believe that's necessary. I actually think it is necessary to keep the two together, because it's us and how we create ourselves. That's what we should infuse in our business, and how we create that in our mission and our vision. Because one of the things that I do in my coaching business, and I've coined myself the creative development coach, is that I help people in their business to infuse themselves back in their business. And my video editing business is a part of that. So we go through what's called a dive program. And through that dive program, the D stands for dump. We dump everything out. We see what we have. And a lot of times people think they have a whole bunch of stuff that's all over the place. But once you dump those things out, you realize how many things go with each other. And then the I stands for intention. We set the intention. Like, what do you want? What feel do you want to have? What do you want people to feel within your mission and your vision and your the things that you want to see come to fruition? And then the V stands for visualization. We see, okay, what does this look like? What am I going to have to do? What type of time am I going to have to put in? How am I going to schedule it into my day? Because there's some non-negotiables. You got to sleep, you got to eat, you may have a spouse, you got kids, you have appointments, you have all these things. So a lot of times we say we bite off more than we can chew. but I say chew it anyway, and chew it until you're ready to digest it. And that's what that visualization process is about. It's not.
So I want to stop you for a second, and I'm not trying to be rude or inconsiderate, but that was powerful, right? Yeah. I've heard you speak about dive before.
Yes.
But I want people to understand what that really is on the creative side. So just so I understand and everybody else understands. So you have this video editing, and let's call it, telling the story to infuse somebody back into their business.
Yes.
So if you were to take me out of my business, what you would do is you would say, all right, Clinton, here's all your videos. Let's dump them all out. Let's see what we got here.
Yes.
Right. And so can you talk to us about that step, right? Because I think that's powerful what you said. I mean, I'm kind of interested in that whole process.
Yes. Well, when we talk about videos, I create videos. Okay. So a lot of times people that come to me already have a platform of some sort where they've had videos on YouTube. They've had videos on Facebook, IG, what have you, whatever platform you choose, it's neither here nor there. But a lot of times what we do is we try to create this platform that's separate than who we are. And we try to keep the personal life out of it. We want to be so structured and we want to be so definite and we want to be so precise.
Right.
But people want to be real. They want to connect and know that you know what they're going through. And in order to do that, if you infuse yourself and your experiences into what you're trying to teach people, what you're trying to show people, what you want people to hear, they can connect with you better because you become more personable in everything that you're trying to do. So that's really where that part come in, where the intention, that's really that intention. What is your intention? Because in my experience with the clients that I've had, a lot of times people's vision and mission is directly attached to something they were missing in the past.
Yeah.
Something they didn't have, the support that you wanted. So when you infuse yourself into that and show people, take them on a journey of where you've been and where you're going in the midst of where you are, then they are more able to connect to what you're doing for them.
So let me ask you this question then, right? So everybody's listening on the line. They all scroll. We all scroll through social media. It's kind of like when you used to just go on the remote control and just keep going to the next, channel. And you don't know why you do it. You don't know if you're really looking for something or subconsciously you're going through and now it's worse. Now I will have the TV going, on the History Channel, and I'll be taking in information, but then I'll still be scrolling, through social media or through emails or through this or that, I'll still be doing it. In this world that we live in now, what's the trick? If I'm a business owner and you're creating this journey, that 3-second world that we live in, how do we get them?
I would say be more responsible with your time. You have to be more responsible with your time. I'm a firm believer that time is an illusion, but so is life. So is me looking at you. So is my ideas. So are my thoughts. Everything is an illusion. But what type of illusion are you creating for your life? Because illusion only benefits you when you believe it. But we believe a lot of things about our lives and our days. Let's narrow it down to our days. That sometimes isn't true. I don't have enough time. I don't get it. I can't get into it. That's just simply not true. Because if one person can be a billionaire, every person can be a billionaire. Because it's cliche to say, but it's true. We all get 24 hours.
Yeah, we all have
if you're looking for more time, they're going to come and lock you up. There is no more time. You have 24 hours, and the same 24 hours that every person that has been successful has. What are you doing with it, though?
Right.
Are you scrolling?
Absolutely.
Or are you applying?
Right. Well, and I guess the question that I have for you is from a creative video perspective, how do you capture in that world that we live in? Like, what do you do for your clients to kind of capture that 3-second rule? Because you know as well as I do, like I'm looking for something if I'm scrolling. Business wise, I'm always thinking business, you know, I would probably say 85% of the time I'm looking, but I'm also looking at other people's content as well, because if it catches me, it'll maybe catch somebody else. How do I capture that 3-second, you know, to where somebody's swiping, you know, from a video perspective?
Be real. That's the main way you be real. Now, as a coach, me personally, how I capture it is I listen. I value the fact that I'm a good listener. That is one of my greatest qualities as a person, not just a coach, but as a friend, as a daughter, a sister, like I am a good listener. I hold space for people to dump out whatever they need to dump out without judgment. Because a lot of times we get so caught up in positivity that we're scared to vent. There's a fine line between complaining and venting, but sometimes you have to release things in order to create space for other things. So when you talk about that 3-second rule and that capturing of the audience and the emotions and the heartstrings, you have to spend, again, being responsible with your time. You have to spend more time with yourself, with your story, with your emotions. And the more that you connect with yourself, the more your true audience can connect with you.
True. Yeah, 100%. You know, well, and it's funny that, you know, being in business, I'll post the coolest shit, right? Stuff that took me hours. I designed it. It was great. And crickets. I'll put it out there. Crickets. Nobody's nothing. You know, and then I'll post something stupid of like my dog or, you know, or something like that. Or, I mean, look, if I put a picture of my wife or my daughter on there, okay, boom, thousands of hits, right? I mean, everybody loves my wife, everybody loves my daughter, you know what I mean? I put, you know, like a 5-minute video on there, crickets.
You know what it is? Because people love your heart.
Yeah,
when you put your heart out there, they can connect to them. That's 100%. Why it's so important to infuse you into your business, into not just your business, but into everything that you do.
Everything.
Like, some of my greatest posts is while I'm driving, because you have that thought. And I always say, get those thoughts out there, because a lot of frustration comes in business, personal life, spiritual life. It's because our ideas have babies. Immediately when we have an idea, there are other ideas that start spouting to support that idea. And because we don't let it out there, then it gets crowded in there, because all the ideas is like, yeah, girl, boy, let's do this, let's go. In our physical bodies, she's like, oh my God, I want to meditate. I just want to quiet my mind. That's not, you don't have to quiet your mind. Let it out. There's good stuff in there. It may seem chaotic, but if you get it out, it falls in line. It comes to order. It's like a puzzle. When you have a puzzle, say you have a puzzle of a great, beautiful garden, the first thing you're going to do is that you're going to get all the edges, right? You put them to the side. Then you get all the shades of blue and put them together. Then you get the shades of green and put them together. But that can't happen until you open the box and you dump it all out. And you take a look at what you have and start sorting it. And then once you get it sorted, then you work at one place at a time. And like my coach, Girl Marie right here, Coach Toy, she always says, focus until you finish. Stop trying to be in so many places at one time. Pick something, anything. It really doesn't matter, because then that idea will spout ideas, and those ideas will support the idea that you originally had.
Yeah. And I think that that's important for people, because it can be overwhelming. If you, especially if you're a highly driven individual, if you're a peak performer on a regular, that means you're like, you go, right? Like top level athletes, top level business people, you know, I mean, these super people, right? They all go through this, but we all go through it, because we're all, you know, at the different levels, you know, we're doing that 100%, you know, and if you're working a bunch or whatever the case is, what I'm getting at is that because you have so much going on, is that it's very easy to have this paralysis of analysis.
Yes.
You know, it's proven that we have 6,000 thoughts that go through our head, minimum, on a daily basis, minimum.
Right.
And like you said, get them out there, write them down.
Out there. Write them down.
How many songs? How many ideas?
Right.
You know, what's really out there?
Right.
You know, like you said, these ideas go.
Yeah.
So that's the creative side. Now we have, now you've morphed into also your coaching and your impact coaching.
Yes.
Right. And, you know, how did that start? How did you go for, I mean, I can see the progression now that I understand more of the story. So I can see it. But what really happened? I mean, you just decide, look, let's go help other people do this. You know, let's coach people. What happened?
Right. Well, you know, what I truly decided is, let me help myself. That dive program that I teach to other people is a process I took to create me. In 2019, when I went to a Lisa Nichols conference, it taught me that I had put myself last in every single area of my life. Yeah. Whether it was relationships, whether it was my job, whether it was my fitness, whether it was just personal friendships, I put myself last. So when I was giving from the bottom of my barrel, where all the grain had settled, where all the dirt had settled, where all the things had settled. And I was wondering why it wasn't catching traction with people that I was giving it to. And it's because they saw that it was the bottom. Yeah. I felt the bottom. I was at my bottom. So in that dive program, what I had to do was do that for me. I had to dump out what's in me. What do I have that I'm good at? I like to sing. I like to write. I like to talk. I like to laugh. Laughing is my favorite. And I tried to say, okay, now with all this stuff, what is my intention behind this stuff? Why do I like to do this? Why does this make me feel good? And it's because those are the things that have the greatest impact. I like to cook. I like to watch people enjoy what I cook too. By the time I get done cooking, I don't even eat. I just be sitting back saying, look at these faces. They happy. I love it. You're like, I touch things that don't even need to be touched. Like I put sour cream in something. I just scoop it out. Just, just stuff that makes me happy. And then the vision, that's when the vision caught on to me. It's like, okay, if I have all this stuff built up in me and I'm so good with all these things and I haven't been doing anything, somebody else out there has been doing the same. If I haven't put intentions to the things I'm good at, somebody else haven't either. If I haven't really visualized past what I know that I've been doing, someone else hasn't either. And if I haven't been executing on what I know I can do, not what I want to do, that'll come. What can I do now? What I can do now is start having conversations. And that's what I did. I started having conversations with people that I knew, people that I didn't know. And I just started infusing myself into everything that I did unapologetically. Like I just wanted to be me. And for so long, I just wasn't me. I was what so-and-so wanted me to be. I was what my job wanted me to be. I was what my mom wanted me to be. I was what my siblings wanted me to be. But what do I want to be? And when I could really stand in that, I was able to touch so many more people because I was coming from a place of honesty with myself. So I had to dive back into me, which is why I call the program what I did.
Yeah, 100%. Wow. Yeah. That is so fantastic. And, it makes so much sense because I think that, similar to like you, I love acronyms and I have, the PROVOKE principles, because I've taught on those and I'm going to teach on those again, just a lot more.
And they're amazing, by the way.
Right. And it's a lot of fun, but these are these principles. And it sounds like, dive is just fantastic. And I just, at the beginning, when you're talking about dumping everything out on the table, you're absolutely right. It is really like that puzzle, right? And you really need to put the pieces together. Right. And it's one of those puzzles that, it really is like the 6,000 piece puzzle that we all have to put together. And that's fantastic that you can use that. Now, so what does the future look like, I suppose? When you're talking about what you've created so far, and I know it keeps growing, all the time. I mean, even since I've been following you, it's grown.
Right.
Like, it's like you said,
Right.
it's like the gremlins when they get
Right.
water, they eat after midnight, you know, like it's, you know, they start multiplying and going crazy. What's happening next?
Yeah, well, what's happening next is a beautiful thing, because my true passion is building community. I want to take my program and get contracts and get connections with homeless shelters, with subsidized housing, with schools, with people who otherwise wouldn't be exposed to them truly being their better selves. One of my sweet, my sweet spot, my heart is with people who have been displaced, people who are looking for homes, people who are trying to get back on their feet. When your main focus is a shelter over your head, clothes on your back, or food in your stomach, your dreams get pushed to the side.
Yeah.
And I always say, in all these shelters around, not just America, but around our entire globe, when the bellies are fed, I want to feed their souls. I want to feed their minds. I want to feed their spirits, because that's truly what's being starved. If you can latch onto a dream, food becomes secondary. How many times have you been working and you forgot to eat in a day?
Yeah, many times.
Right. Because you got something that's driving you other than the hunger for food. You're hungry for more. You want more for yourself than you've had before. And the way to do that is to get information that you otherwise wouldn't have, because people are taking the time to come to you and say, I got something for you, and it ain't food, but you can eat it.
Well, and let me ask you something, Carrie. You know, not to interrupt you, but I think it's powerful, because I think when somebody went through that kind of an impact, right, to where they needed to worry about a roof over their head, they needed to worry about, like you said, your stomach, having food.
Yep.
It changes.
It does.
People so much, but I think when you're talking about dumping things out,
right,
that dumps out all humility, that dumps out your entire ego, that dumps out, all sorts of things that, maybe made you in the position that you're in. But you're right, that type of impact. Now, you feeding their soul, that's powerful, because then once they do get a little bit on their feet, now you're going to take them to the next level. So that's powerful.
Yeah.
That's amazing. That's giving me shivers, girl.
Yeah.
That is. I like that.
It comes from the learning about the law of attraction. We attract what we feel. If I feel like I got to beg for food, if I feel like I got to beg for a place to stay, then I probably am not in the mindset that I can have any more than my basic needs. Yeah. But if you can infuse in people that they are more than their circumstances, and they can really get in touch with what they want to feel happy, to feel protected, to feel safe, get in touch with the emotions that you want to attract to you. And then other things will be attracted to you. Because I lived in my car. I've been there. I know what that feels like. But it wasn't until I looked past my car and knew what I wanted for my future could I attract to me a home other than my car. Because I had that. I had a shelter. I had shelter. I was still working. The people I was working with didn't even know I was living in my car. Yeah. But I had to get in touch with something that was inside of me that had not been touched by poverty, that had not been touched by displacement. Because that God-sized gift inside of me can never be touched, but it can be clouded. It can have stuff piled on top of it. Fear, doubt, embarrassment, being ashamed. Those
100%.
When someone like me can say I've been there, and there ain't no reason to fear, and there ain't no reason to be ashamed. I almost took my life. I almost took my life. But again, it goes back to that core responsibility of yourself, getting in touch with yourself and who you are at your core. You were born and sent here for a reason and a purpose, and can't nobody take that from you. I don't care if you're hungry. I don't care if you're scared. I don't care if you're displaced. That does not matter. It is your circumstances, but it is not who you are.
Yeah, it's your environment, right? Like I have had this conversation with quite a bit of my clients, and I'm sure that you hear this a lot with a lot of your clients, and both in business, right? And, you know, business, we hear, hey, it's COVID time right now. Like, that's all I hear, right? Well, and then in real life, it's like, well, you didn't have the upbringing that I did. You know, I hear that daily. Well, my mom this or my dad
you don't understand.
And I'm thinking, like, you're 40, 50 years old. Hello, 30, 20 years old. Like, get moving, you know, because it was your environment. Your environment now, you live by yourself or you live away from them. You're not still living with your parents. Here we are, present day. You know, your circumstances, right, are, you know, in your environment, of course, yes, we all know this. You know, nothing in life is perfect, but you know, the power to move through all that. Now, I guess, you know, you brought up a couple of points, you know, and if you and if it's okay with you, I'd like to ask you, you know, look, you said you know, you were in some dark times.
Yeah,
you
absolutely.
know, you almost took your life.
Yeah.
Can you talk about that for a second?
Oh yeah, absolutely. And it's a story that actually makes me happy now.
Yeah.
In my darkest time, sitting in the room of my parents' house, not wanting, being convinced by the outside world that it was better to kill myself than to be myself. That is some serious, like you say, shit. That's really some serious shit, because if the world can make me feel like that, I'm a happy person. I was happy then. Up until the moment that I wanted to commit suicide, I was fine. But it only takes a moment of despair to make you feel less than, to make you want to give up. It only takes one instance. And in that moment of me sitting there, bleeding from my wrist, my father walked into the room. And when he saw me, he said to me, "I'm sorry. I didn't even realize anybody's in here." And he turned around and he left the room. And I sat there and I had every reason in the world to say, this is exactly why I want to kill myself. This is exactly why I'm sick of this world. This is exactly why I'm out of here. But I didn't do that. In that moment, I realized I was looking to be saved. And it doesn't matter if he stopped me then or if he stopped me later. If I wanted to take my life, I could take my life. And it wasn't nothing he could do about it. But it also wasn't anything anyone could do about it if I wanted to live. And in that moment, I knew I was the only one then and forever that would be responsible for my life and what I get out of it. So that was the moment that I knew that I had all the power I ever needed. It was the decision that I made. To live is a decision. To die is a decision. To advance is a decision. To stop, to quit is a decision. The lack of a decision is a decision. How many of us have put decisions aside because we just waiting for life to just sail us on down the lazy river? But we don't decide because we know if we decide, there's an option that we could fail. But what's more important, failing and learning from your mistakes, or not making a decision and staying in a position that you are giving up your power? I refused at that moment to give up my power anymore. I decide what happens to me, no one else. And it's the same for everybody that's listening right now. If you are here and you are able, which is my company name, ATBA, which stands for able to be able. And I love that phrase because you are able to be able, but are you making a decision to be able? Are you doing what you can do? Because I don't know if it was Les Brown said, "What if you do all you can do? It is enough. All you can do isn't enough. But are you doing all you can do? Because in order for you to know what you can have, you
100%.
have to do all you
100%.
can do. All of it. You have to give all of yourself to everything that you do. And I guarantee you, you cannot lose. You can't. It's impossible to lose.
Now, for you, I mean, at this point in your life, I mean, was this rock bottom? Was this the darkest that you've ever been?
I believe in that moment. I've had other moments that I thought were darker, but when I look back at totality, I think that was the darkest moment, and not because of where I was, because after that is when I found myself homeless. After that is when, I cashed out my 401k and lost all my money. After that is when a lot of things went left with my relationships. After that, a lot of times after that, I realized that I was in dark moments, and like when things start happening, they compound on each other. So it's like it's the accumulation of things that make you feel darker and darker and darker. But the reason now, looking back, why that was the darkest moment is because that was the moment that I was willing to give up on me. And if I don't have me, if I don't believe in me, I can't believe in anything else, because everything starts from the point of myself. And then within myself is the core of my being, because in the core of my being is my creator. And I am not just a piece, like God is not a piece of who I am. God is not a piece of who you are. Let me look in the camera. Whoever's looking right now, God is not a piece of you. You're a piece of God. We are all just God split up in the human form. And if the power is in us to do everything, then everything is possible.
Yeah.
Every and anything is possible.
100%. And do you think that, and I've asked a lot of peak performers that have had, and really everybody that's been on this show has had a provoking moment, in their life. Like, so what happened next? Because that could have went a lot of different ways. Your dad could have come in and he could have called everybody he knew, and you'd be locked up, in a mental institution. You'd have been on high risk. He could, and I don't know financially how you guys grew up, but he could pay a bunch of money to somebody to shut things up and send you to, to some place, or wherever it is. Or, like you said, I mean, he just, kind of turned around and walked away, and you said something like, see, this is the reason. What was that? Was that a part of it? Was it a part of your parents? Was it a part of what happened growing up that you kind of felt that?
Well, it was because of my sexuality, because I'm a lesbian. And I hate that term, because I'm only a lesbian because I've been with women, not because like they say, you prefer women. I've been with men as well, which is, I don't feel like the bedroom is anyone's business. But because of the fact that my dad was a pastor, he passed away in 2011. And then when he passed away, my mom took over the church. It wasn't because they didn't love me. It was because I was ashamed of who I was. And I didn't want to put my family or my loved ones through having to explain to anybody why I was the way I was. Because I've heard all my life, God made Adam and Eve, not Adam and Steve. So I was ashamed of myself. I was embarrassed of myself. And I'm going to be honest, up until a long time, I didn't even know what gay was. I just knew I had these feelings because I was raised in a Christian household. I didn't really go anywhere. Only thing, my life was surrounded by basketball, and I just didn't really, I'd never met a gay person in my life. I didn't even know what that was or existed. I just knew how I felt, and I didn't like it because I knew I had been told it was wrong. So it wasn't like some influence from somebody. I seen something. We didn't watch TV. I couldn't even watch The Simpsons. Okay. Like, right. There would be times that we play R&B on the radio. My mom would be like, who made my radio sin? That's the type of household. Wow. But at the same time, it was just a cultivation of what I felt. It really didn't have too much to do with anyone else. It was something internally that I felt that was projecting to other people. And when I look back over my life, I've always been looking for someone to validate me, to save me, to come to my rescue, to be there for me. I know I played, like I said, basketball was my life. I can count on one hand, and I've been playing basketball since 3rd grade. I can count on my one hand how many times my parents came to my games. But it wasn't because they didn't care. It's because they were so busy. My dad was either at the nursing home or at the hospital or doing marriage counseling because he was a pastor. And my mom was a career student. She's got so many degrees, so many certificates, early childhood credential, insurance, and she was a nurse's aide, you know, all these things. So I was alone a lot. So it was just that not only feeling alone, but literally being alone. So in this capacity and feeling the way I felt, I'm like, I'm always going to be alone. And I didn't want that for me. I didn't want that for my family. And I just assumed, again, it was better to kill myself than be myself, because I just didn't want the responsibility of having to have those conversations that I knew would hurt my family and maybe destroy my family, hurt my father's credibility as a pastor. I didn't want to do that because I value his life, his reputation more than I value my own.
Right. But obviously that's changed now.
Absolutely.
Right?
Oh, yeah.
You know, and that's such a powerful thing because, you know, look, your parents did raise a wonderful woman, right?
Yes,
I mean, I can tell both sides blending in, right, together. And what the upbringing that you've had, because you have such a powerful presence. There is that, but there's also that fundamental and that foundation that comes from being brought up religious, right? And it doesn't matter what religion it is. It doesn't matter, you know, it doesn't matter that you have that foundation that's built, that's powerful. Right. It's just that, you know, like you said, we become lonely. Therefore, we look for attention. And when you look for attention and you may not receive that attention exactly how you want, then things change.
Yes,
you know, and I mean, and it still happens even in business, right? And even as people would grow, the frustration is not there. But you said something that was powerful, is that you become your true self. And you transformed at that point. That's like when a superhero finally comes out and says, everybody look, I'm a superhero, guys, blast off. By the way, in these glasses that you wore, right? And this identity changes, and identity is a huge thing for people. And it's so powerful that you are now giving back something to people that is such an impact, right? Because they have this identity of being, blacklisted and at the bottom of the trenches, right? They need assistance, and nobody likes handouts, right? Like nobody likes to get help. They really don't. This. We know this, being coaches. Nobody likes help. Nobody likes criticism, right? Nobody likes to be shown what to do. But it's necessary, and that's so powerful. So I guess, if you were to give our listeners, and I know you're going to, you've already given so much in this conversation. I don't even know what more you could give, but what advice do you have for somebody that might be listening? And I want you to do it in two parts, right? Personal advice, and then in business, or their brand, or whatever moves them, whatever they want to do, whatever that one thing that their gut is just pulling them forward. What pieces of advice, what golden nuggets do you have for everybody that's listening?
Yes. Well, I'll start with the business, just because I feel like the personal part will also impact the business. First of all, with business, I would say follow through. That's what we were talking about before we went live, is that follow through part, which you were saying, how you have the one thing that you recommend to your clients is to follow through, see things to the end, and I completely agree with that that statement that you said. You have to catch momentum when it comes to business. They always say the first year of business is the hardest. The first year of business is this, that, and the other. You know why that's true? Because everybody believes it. We say it over and 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 over. It's because everybody believes it. But if you think about it, that first year of business is the learning curve. There's so much to learn. There's so many decisions to make. And the problem why people get burnt out is going to get tired of making decisions, because the majority of my life, we leave a lot of decisions up to chance, up to mama, up to daddy, up to spouse, up to kids. Everything revolves around them. Your schedule revolves around them. Start making decisions for yourself and seeing that decision through. Follow through with that gut feeling, because how many times do you wake up in the middle of the night with an amazing idea and you get out your pen and paper, your idea journal, you write it down, you're like, oh my God, that's so good. That's so good. And then by the time, and then
right here.
And then the day starts and then you got a flat tire. And then you're late for work. And then and all these things happen. And you're like, well, maybe that ain't such a good idea because I got bills to pay. I got this, that, and the other. And we let these things, these speed bumps, deter us and slow us down. But speed bumps it may slow you down, but it does not mean stop. It just means maybe you just need to spend more time on cultivating that idea. Like you said, a lot of us don't like to ask for help. Write down your resources. Who do you know that knows things about what this idea is pertaining to? Who do you know that you can talk to and share your idea with that won't just be like, girl, that's crazy, but be excited about what you are talking about, what you're thinking about. And then personally, I would say you are a container. I was talking to my friend Michelle Hardy about this the other day. Matter of fact, I'm going to do this. I'm going to dump this out and just create a visual. If I ask most people, what is this? They would say a bottle of water. And I'm like, okay, you're right. It is a bottle of water. But to its core, it's a bottle. It's a bottle of water because that's what's in it. But you can put anything in here you want. You are a bottle. What do you want to be filled with? That's your decision. That's your decision. And you can't be mad at the water and everybody calling you a water bottle if you allow the water to stay in it. What do you want to do? What do you want to be filled up with? Do you want to be filled with positivity or negativity? Do you want to be filled with ideas or distraction? Do you want to be filled with TV or YouTube videos to help uplift you every day? Do you want to be filled with downgrade and somebody degrading you, or do you want to be filled with affirmations? You are a container. You are a container. What you are filled with is completely and utterly up to you.
100%. Wow, that's awesome. That's so awesome. Wow. Thank you so much for being on. I'm going to ask you to stick around here for a couple minutes after we cut off live. But everybody else that's listening, wow. Tune in September 25th. This woman is going to be live, on stage live. I can't wait. I'm absolutely honored to be speaking with her. I can't wait to take in some more nuggets. I'm really pumped about this. If you guys like this, okay, share this. Comment, post, love, do whatever. Just do something. I mean, it's really easy to do. Click a button. You're scrolling anyways. Just go ahead and pump us up full of love. I appreciate everybody listening. Remember, provoke positive change in people, and then, of course, your peak performance as well.
Yes, absolutely.